Today we start a new series here in the book of Genesis. And where are we going to start in the book of Genesis?
The beginning.
In the beginning.
Yes, you're right, at the beginning.
And John, to insert a rabbit hole into your beginning, there's a rabbit hole waiting for you in the podium.
What?
There's a rabbit hole, John, and if you go to the podium and search for it, you will find it.
Nathan's fine.
I'm going to go with this. I'll be up there in a minute.
Dramatic.
The suspense is killing us.
No. Okay, this was 2001 Space Odyssey. Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah.
And the Earth rotating and the sun moving up above it. That's what you just saw right there. Some words here in the beginning. What was before? What was before this?
God.
Good job. Yes. All of it before this was God. Now, there's also the issue related to considering that the angels were moved there and the fall of Satan was there, and all of that kind of stuff goes on. But before this was God, okay? Now then, also, God created the heavens and the earth, okay? And in our English translation, we're going to explore the 3 times that Genesis 1 uses the English word create. And we're going to look and see what it is. Now, it tells me that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. And where does your mind go when it thinks about this opening statement? Does it go to anywhere else in the Bible?
John 1.
John 1. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Does it have anything else? Does it go anyplace else?
All things were created by him, and there was not anything that was not made.
Right, and that's, what is that, about verse 3,
Somewhere there.
3, 4, 5, right. Was there any other book in the Bible that has that theme or that idea?
Romans.
That's the answer to it all. We couldn't develop it, but there's
John 1.
another book that we have,
First John.
and we just finished it in 1 John. Yeah, I know, you just said it. I was expounding upon it in 1 John. It says, that which was from the beginning. We have heard and seen, we have handled, all of that. And so that this idea in the beginning, it incorporates where God is at. Now, also, okay, I notice some people are shuffling papers and things. You notice on your table there is a blank sheet of paper. On the back side of it should be the questions for next week. I'm going to steal some of yours.
Thank you.
I'm going to steal some. You guys got, did you pass this to the table behind you? Okay, so you have some. You need another one? Ray's got it. Ray's got it. Okay, good. Okay, so we have got, in the beginning, God created. And realizing that you, all of you, at some point, have pondered the things that went on in Genesis 1 and 2. So, if I might, may it be that I share with you what I have pondered and the things that have kind of lined up or made sense for me. So, okay, when you think about this, what do you remember?
Chemistry.
Yeah. Remember, what is there, 118 elements on that chart? Is there any more since that?
For a couple of femtoseconds. Okay.
Any other, Matt?
Not that I know of.
118. But we know that God may have used some other ones, So we're going to allow him to have 10 more here. I don't know what they are, but God can do what he wants to do, what he needs to do. And so, yes, we've got 118. The 118 is right here.
Look at the color.
There's 11 there, right?
See these two lines here? They fit right in there, okay? That's where they fit. But there's the end of our thing, okay? So, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, all right? So, this is a kind of for me, it kind of pulls it together, what might be happening. Now, the earth was formless and empty, and darkness was over the surface of the deep. Genesis 1:2. That often is considered a redo, that there had been a creation of order, but there is some theologians think that this verse 2 is a redo, that there was something that happened in a redo, and that's where they put in the angels and those issues there, there was a void, there was formless and empty, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. You guys know all this. You've thought about it, you've read about it, you've questioned about it, all those things. And, well, back to this. Now, what was it that was in Gospel of John? In the beginning was the Word. So God said, okay? He said, let there be light. Okay, stay with me. You're going to have to watch really quickly on this, okay? You have magnesium and oxygen coming together, making light. And I'm sure there's many other elements that will do that, but I chose those two because it's as to Genesis 1, verses 3 through 5. And he said he took those elements that would create life, and he...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Are you... Okay.
Well, I was going to say something relevant. I had a T-shirt when I was a young physics undergraduate, and it said at the top on the front, and God said, and then there were Maxwell's four equations, which
we all know.
Which you all know.
Wow, Maxwell's for
I don't remember if that was the integral form or the differential form, but it was one of those. And
Excellent. That's important.
and at the bottom it said, and there was light.
Good. Wow. Good.
So God made it so it would work that way.
Hey, God's good at that. Okay? Because when he said this is the first day, he said this light is good. Okay? And God said, let there be an expanse in the water. So God made. And so at this, what Bob Sloat last week, talking about the artist, with the canvas, and he takes a little bit and paints in this portion of the canvas, and then another, and he paints in this portion of the canvas, and he then is making the picture. He's not creating the paint, he didn't create the brushes, but he's making this thing. And it's these things that come together so God made. Oh, what's that? H2O.
Water.
Yeah, it's water. You guys know that. Good. So he had and let there be an expanse between the waters. So God made H2O to separate waters from the other. And that's your second day. You guys, does this sound familiar?
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. So stay with me. And God said, let the waters under the sky be gathered to one place and let dry ground appear. Ta-da! Dry ground, water. And let the land produce vegetation. Now, what was it that made light? What were the elements that made light? Yes, magnesium and oxygen. Okay, what other elements when combined, create light?
Hydrogen and oxygen.
Hydrogen and oxygen.
Holy Hindenburg.
Say it again. I don't know. I'm asking.
If you take hydrogen and fuse it with hydrogen at the temperature of millions of degrees, you'll get quite a lot of light.
Oh, is that what the atomic bomb was all about?
It's that big fusion thing in the sky that you see.
We're not there yet. We are not there yet, Nathan. You're jumping the gun. Okay,
Yeah.
these are the elements that were required when it said, let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and trees. Where do these elements, where do these come from?
Creation.
Our chart.
Yeah.
Remember the chart?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we had the chart. And these are the elements that are able to produce fruit-bearing trees. Those are the elements that are needed to do that, is what Google told me. You know that expert Google, it'll tell you everything, and it's always true. So I know that, but it may not be 100% true.
I love this. I love the element theme here. And just to add one thing, one of the strong arguments for an intelligent creator is that those elements by themselves wouldn't make life, right? They don't have that ability. You need information in the form of DNA. DNA is made of those things too, right? But it's organized in a particular way to make life. And the people with the secular model don't have a source like John's equations or the DNA. They don't have a source of information, right? Only the creation model can supply that, because those elements alone wouldn't, make trees and stuff like that.
For Christmas, my wife always enjoys baking. These little lemon fudge thingies
Oh.
and lemon bar things and
We'll be over.
cookies. Cookies with kisses on top of them. That stuff. Yeah, she makes those. I would have no clue what needs to be in that mix to make those things happen. You're right. And so people that do not have the understanding or the ability to put these elements together, they couldn't do it. But I guess a creator. Okay. God saw that it was good. Okay. Let's see, is there something else I did? Oh, Nathan, there you go. God made two great lights. The greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. And he also made stars. God saw that it was good. Gosh, how's creation going so far? It really is, and it's got a stamp of approval. That's what I like. And God said it was good. Yeah, the fourth day. And God said, let the waters teem with living creatures. Let the birds fly above the earth across the vault of the skies. God created. Second time, God created the great creatures of the sea and every winged bird. I love that picture. There's another one coming I like even better. That's one of my favorites. The ocean, the animal, yeah. God saw that it was good. The fifth day. And God said, let the land produce living creatures and according to their kind, the living livestock, the creatures that move along the ground, and the wild animals, each according to its kind. Here's one of my favorite pictures. Isn't that a great group? Somebody, I know, photoshopped it and everything, but it's still just, what a great crew. Look at the eagle sitting there. Sitting there. What? Have any of you been hugged by one of these guys?
Not lately.
What is it, a
It's a
bird
sloth.
protector?
And if you take a cruise down in the Caribbean, some of the excursions you can go on, you can get hugged by a sloth.
Actually,
I love seeing it.
Have you been hugged?
My grandson has been hugged by a sloth. He bought at the Long Beach Aquarium, he just bought a sloth, a stuffy that has Velcro that it hugs you. And he loves it. He just loves it.
Oh, sloths are wonderful.
I don't know where it is,
I try
but
to
they have
emulate
life
sloths.
somewhere.
well, it's in Roatan.
I don't have to try.
We were there, but about 2 weeks earlier, the government had said, we're not sure that's good for the sloths. Don't do that for a while. So it's under discussion. We stood this close to.
Right there in there, okay, yeah. You got a whole bunch of them. God saw that it was good. Okay, and God said, let us produce living
There's a
creatures.
YouTube
And
finds a
okay,
sloth. and
he made these things, he didn't create them. Where did the creation of these things begin?
Did you see that? Oh.
Pardon me now? On the periodic table, yes, but I mean, at what stage, what day
He
did
wasn't on
these things begin to be? Let me go back. The things that are swarming in the ocean and the birds in the air, they were created. What's the difference between these guys and an apple tree?
Wow.
They move fast.
See, okay. Anything else?
They have a brain.
They have a brain. They have a sort of brain. Anything else that is making a porpoise, or is that a
Dolphin.
Dolphin.
Is that-
What's the
Dolphin.
question?
But that fish and the tree, what's the difference?
A brain.
Okay, got it. Brain, we've got it. Anything else that you want to say?
They can move.
Yes.
a lot.
Do they have breath?
No, they don't.
They breathe.
So
So they breathe, yes.
They respirate
Plants,
So do trees.
plants also.
through their, through their gills, right?
And for me, at this point, what you have got here is a living creature. It's been given life, reproduction. It does things that animals do.
It makes choices.
Say that one more time.
It makes choices.
Okay.
Trees
Not-
don't. Yeah.
Honey, can I bash your mother? There was a lady I once knew. No! There was a lady I once knew that as she would look out her front window, when a couple of dogs would be doing it, you know what I mean,
Yes.
doing it.
I think we all know, John.
Okay. Okay, when they're doing it, she would express how filthy dirty are those dogs doing it in public like that.
Gosh.
No, that's just what dogs do. And that's the animal thing, you know, it goes on, okay? So so there's a distinction between the tree, okay, this one. And God said, let us make man in our image. Oh wait, what day is this?
Six.
What else was created on the sixth day? The animals on the land. Yeah, animals on the land. And at that point, continuation of that is the, so God created mankind. Oh.
Whoop.
There's our third created. Created being from what was not there before.
The dust of the earth.
Well, we're not there yet.
Sorry.
That's in your homework, John. Have you been looking at the homework?
No.
I know you don't look at the homework. But okay, that's a halfway of an answer of one of your questions for the week.
Don't
Okay.
read the homework.
Anyway, So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. I love this. And God saw all that he had made, and it was
Very
very good. Very good.
There
The
must-
animals and Adam there. Yeah. Genesis 1:31. Now, the sixth day. Let's go back to this chart, okay? If we can. And my expert out of Google, and you know that that's not a good expert, says what are the primary elements that are in a man? And they distinguish these four right there. Okay, those are the elements that are important, primary important. And then the secondary elements, my expert Google friend put these seven together here. Okay, and I know Matt that there are many more elements in there, but this is what is considered the primary elements. Okay. I love dogs. I love my son. There's a dog. His name is Baxter. He's what is he? A Rottweiler. Just a big honking dog. And my son has a Yorkie. That is not a dog. This is a dog, okay?
That's a golden retriever, isn't it?
Is it?
Looks like
Or is it a Labrador? Anyway, it's a dog.
Newfoundland.
And so,
What?
the
Newfoundland.
question is, these elements were primary in Adam. What ones are also in dog or animal? Okay.
Same ones.
Well, it looks like the same primary four are there. Those are the same primary ones. And then there is the secondary. Are they going to use all of them? Oh my gosh, look at that.
All of those, yeah.
Now, I recognize there is the DNA and other elements that created, flesh out the guy. It's just those things that, Chris, but notice that between the man and the dog, as far as the periodic table of elements, they're similar. So what is the difference here? Well, it's what I think, Janet, you were speaking about, God breathed. Okay, this whole idea of the image of God. And that's what Adam and Eve had, was the image of God. What is the image of God to you guys? If we are created in the image of God, what does that mean? Yes, sir.
I think it means being. God is the great being. And of all the things that we've seen this morning, the sun, the trees, the animals, we're the only ones that are a being, that have, I don't know how you say it, a sense of me. I am. It's only people have that of all creation.
Okay, I appreciate that.
That's my take.
That's a little hard to grasp. Lana's going to give us a little more insight. Lana.
So, adding on to that, we have attributes like God created. So like you create your paintings, or Debbie creates the lemon bars. We have that part of creating. So we are similar in that way to God,
Very good.
or as parents.
I got.
treated your mother really well, so you get more lemon bars
I know. She knows I love it. Jen.
We can make moral choices.
Oh, wait. Even before the choices, there's moral issues. Remember the two dogs out in front of that lady's house? They don't have, they have a drive, you know, but there's the moral being that they're working on. And in that, there is making a choice about it, you know, about that moral issue. Chris,
We have thoughts, we have feelings and emotions.
wait a second, go slower.
Okay.
Okay, thoughts?
Thought, feelings and emotions. We have reasoning powers, and we have decision-making capability.
Yes,
It's
yes,
part of my mind.
yes. And those things are pretty much the kind of things that Matt talked about when all those elements, God brought them together to make those fruit trees, those elements, and that's that decision making and choices. Yeah. Monica.
Self-control.
Okay, some of us do.
She said.
As regards lemon bars?
Yeah, lemon bars. I'm sorry, I have that. I have focus. No, but you're right. Right, there is that element that I am not going to be out on the lawn in front of that lady's house.
Blinking.
Yeah, you know I'm not going to do that. This is an X-rated lesson, isn't it, Oscar? Oscar, are we okay? Good.
Pretty.
Kids are doing great.
So what you see on TV.
Yes.
As some people would say, we have a God-shaped vacuum. So we have something in our being that's incomplete without having a personal relationship with God.
And we're going to talk about that in probably 3 to 4 weeks. How that came about. Rachel.
Our main focus is not just to survive. Animals and creatures, that's their focus completely, just surviving, just living. We don't have to have that as our only choice.
What do we have then?
We can be, we can enjoy, we can relax, we can have many different things.
Right.
Instead of just surviving.
We got Ruth.
So we also talk pretty well. Higher cognitive senses.
Gotcha. And that's always been the best thing we have is higher cognitive reasoning, isn't it? We always do so well with all of that. Sandy.
The ability to love.
I wanted to share with you, a friend of mine asked me to put together some essential things that we would want to teach or encourage in our children and our grandchildren. One was the issue of boundaries. A dog, even with a fence, doesn't know there's a boundary there. It's just an opportunity to jump that puppy and go somewhere. Where now? And then, as was said, unconditional love that we need to give or instill in our children, our grandchildren, that they are, no matter what, unconditionally loved. Okay, I'm jumping down. Then there is something greater than them, God. You know, in knowing this chapter 1, the issue of our being, we resonate with that godness that's there. You know, that's something that's critical for our lives, and in ways, people seek that. I was thinking about bringing Dan Shaw. You guys all know Dan Shaw, right?
No.
Okay. So I'll bring him sometime. He is an anthropologist, a linguist, and a missionary to Papua New Guinea. He's a member of our church. And just the idea of realizing what is men and women, what are we? And so this idea of the image of God, then God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. Okay, back to our chart. Can you remember that far back?
Sure.
Yes.
180.
Have I lost you?
Which only periodically can I
Okay,
do
the
that.
periodic chart, remember that? What was the primary and secondary elements differentiated in a man and in a dog?
Nothing different.
Oh,
Same.
Yeah, it was the same. But what is the being created in the image of God has nothing tangible, nothing that's on the chart. What is there is all of the things you've spoken about, but even more. That the image of God He created in us. Yeah, we're going to explore that.
Eternal soul.
Yes, a soul, that worthness that goes on beyond. Oh gosh. Okay, wait a second. How many of you have dogs you want to have in heaven with you?
Sure.
Okay.
Cats do.
Cats? Oh, I don't know about cats. But dogs, yeah, we're good with dogs. But anyway, but the dogs, Randy Alcorn in heaven talks about that they're in the book called Heaven. He talks about that there will, for us, we have a soul that will continue on for eternity. Who's Kirk guy, the young kid? No, not kid. Yeah, that's.
Kirk Cameron?
He goes to college campuses.
Not James.
Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk. There we go. He was. Oh gosh, I wish my brain had a great reason to bring up his name. I'll come back to it.
Yes.
And the animals in heaven.
Animals in heaven.
Soul, eternal souls.
That are. Okay. Would you come up here?
You're doing great.
Please. No, just come stand. No, you're without shoes. I don't care.
My foot. Oh.
Yay.
You're perfect. What's the difference between us?
Oh, brother. She's prettier.
Yeah, there is so much. There are. But when was she determined to be the person that stands before you today? And when was I determined to be the person that would stand here before you today? Phoebe, are you?
Before the beginning of the earth.
Is it? Phoebe, did you have an answer?
I don't, but
Oh.
I can tell, that was before she, you said it, after she was born, or after both of you.
Her DNA, which formed her, look at her smile. The
Good
color of
DNA.
hair, the stature, the way she carries herself, the way I carry myself. Some people are loudmouths and others are very quiet and reserved. And that maybe that's not DNA, but that is at the moment of conception. When the two, what is it? Sperm and the egg, right there, at that moment.
Ta-da.
But didn't God know us before the foundation?
Christy was formed. Not she's grown. But so that those things are formed. When David said in Psalm 139, the Lord knew me in my mother's womb. I was shaped. And so this image of God being creating souls that will be for eternity, but will bless us. Alcorn's contention is with those favorite cats and dogs in heaven that are those friends that we have. It's a great thing. What does it mean to be created in the image of God? Classic thinkers. This goes back to Augustine. You all have read the Confessions of Augustine or Augustine, whichever. I can't ever figure out how to pronounce that.
Augustine.
Not Augustine. Not Augustine of Hippo.
No.
No.
Or
That's
rhinoceros.
Steve.
Anyway, it's not Steve of Hippo either. No, it's classic thinkers of that era, the first 3, 4, 5 centuries, considered the image of God having to do with reason and soul. That was what was perceived or held up. Now, the reformers, which one of these reformers really struggled with how could he be holy enough? How could he be righteous enough? How could he be moral enough to please God? And his name is?
Luther?
Martin Luther.
Martin Luther.
Martin Luther, you're right. And what book in the Bible was instrumental in helping him understanding it's not his?
Romans.
What is it? Oh, you guys are good. Yes. But that was the reformers. But now there have been other theologians that have progressed along. Karl Barth, Bonhoeffer. That's all the B's. I don't have any C's or D's. Martin. Anyway, for them, there is the relational and vocational. That is the image of God in seeing that. How do we relate to our fellow man? This last week, did you see a lot of people coming and going, maybe on the highway or things? Which one of them was not created in the image of God?
All humans were created in the image of God.
The one that was a blow up.
The one,
All humans. But if you happened to see one of those driverless taxis,
that one's not, but you're right. Even those that we may not honor or appreciate, they are created in the image of God. Now we're going to talk in 3 to 4 weeks about what happened and where it may have gotten us. But anyway, so this was the modern theologians, the guys that are thought of currently. But within the New Testament concept, the idea of in the image of God is a restoration to God through a relationship, a holiness, and reason in our soul. All of that is restored, and that's going to be talked about later through that through that 3rd or 4th week here. Okay, notice that page. I had to read this to make sure there's nothing not appropriate on it. Okay, and then what's the difference between these two pages?
One has inappropriate spells.
Legibility.
content.
Color.
Words.
There was a book that came out about 15 years ago called Margins. How that books that have on the left no margin are more difficult to deal with and absorb and work through than a book who has on the right the margins. It gives a point of rest. It's not just all packed into that page. It was in Genesis 2 on the 7th day. God finished his work and he rested. So that this is something given to us in this act of creation. He worked for the 6 days, and in it he gave to us a point where we will, in some way, have a time of rest. Oh no. Oh yeah, this is okay. I know, you guys are getting tired of this picture, aren't you?
Not really, no.
This is a great picture. I really enjoy it. So, Genesis 1 and 2. What can we learn about God in creation? Because of time?
All that stuff.
All of this stuff. Read it. What jumps off at you that says, oh my, yes, that's the one. For me, that's the one I liked. Yes, Rachel.
Establishes rest and rhythm.
What is it?
Last one. Last one,
Oh.
very last one.
God establishes Rest and rhythm. Yeah.
Need to be reminded of
It's
that.
almost amazing.
Yeah.
Going and going and going and going and going. You have to have that rest. You have to have that rest.
That's the reason the book advocated margins in our life, where there was blank spaces that we could deal with. Then, you notice how we move now?
Oh,
Okay, what do we learn about humanity? Humans are, yeah, okay. Humans are meant to rest. Okay. So all those, yeah, got that. That's the other side, okay? Now then, what does being created in the image of God require a person to do? What is it incumbent on humans to do? We've talked a lot about the character and quality of Jesus, of God, and how that is affected in the image of God. Ruth.
I think getting back to what Ann said earlier, we have that God-shaped world, which is created in His image. Makes us seek Him and want to have a relationship. Even in those who don't know Him, it's kind of with God.
Right. That hungering for something more
So
better.
Westminster Confession also. Shame of man.
So it's the seeking.
And
Bob?
Fundamentally, if we're created in God's image, then we have no choice but to inhabit God's image. That's where we have to live.
Okay.
We have to flesh out.
And how would we flesh that out, Bob? Because I agree with you.
I'm only speaking at the fundamental level. I haven't got.
Let's see.
Reflect his image to others, reflect his glory
Right.
to the world.
Yeah. John.
Love.
Acknowledge his authority over our lives.
Great. Yeah.
Humble to accept God's creator and then read the Bible daily to understand how God is so powerful.
I love that part of what I need to instill is that there is something greater than me. I want my children to know that it's God. Yeah.
And if mine, the God is created time, God created place, God created person, human being, and God is only one God because God created, so it's so rich.
He was there before the beginning. He has been there.
Yeah. So time is the created time. When we can. So.
I didn't know if your wife was about ready to say
Oh.
Yes, Sherry.
I'm always ready.
I heard Janet say love, and to me, that's kind of a basic word that maybe we should go to. I don't know. Like,
That's the
is that the
main-
reason we were created?
God is love.
Where did you get that?
First John.
Bible.
Yeah. I jotted some reflect God's character. Leviticus, represent God on earth. Live in right relationship. Oh, Luke 10:27. Guess what it is? The greatest commandment is this: love the Lord.
Love God.
And love your neighbor
As yourself.
as yourself. So there's three areas that love enters into this dynamic that we're talking about. And uphold human dignity, pursue Christ-likeness. Yeah. Nobody's taking a picture of this slide. But that's kind of like the bottom line to me in this area.
Oh, we got it down.
What is God?
Oh, wait.
Oh, go back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She had it all framed up. There we go.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay. Yes,
Can I go on now?
yes.
Yeah. So we.
No.
Oh, no, wait.
Whoa,
I saw other cameras raising.
no, brother. Oh, it's done.
And I'd ask you to look those verses up. What's it all about? Okay. In the beginning, God created. Oh, gosh! I'm just jerking my chain. Wow, yeah. Okay?
Next week, we get mule deer.
Next week, life in the garden.
And John, do not forget, there is something waiting for you inside the podium.
It's electric.
Is it something sweet?
No, if you find something sweet, it is not that thing. You might use that term anyway.
Oh, that's a lot of lemon.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
what I've always wanted, a red Ferrari.
Thank you.
Some assembly required.
Pardon me?
Some assembly required.
Yes.
And research.
Oh, what are you guys looking at?
I think, John, you're supposed to give us a closing prayer, or a challenge to go out into the week with, a benediction, a blessing.
Yes.
You know, I think the biggest issue for me out of this lesson has to do with it. Every person I see or pass by during the week, you know, no matter if they're not quite dressed or if they're the high and the mighty, you know, people who have weddings in Florence, Italy.
Yeah.
You know, they are created in the image of God.
Yep.
Heavenly Father, we thank you that you didn't leave us here without a direction or a way to live life. Lord, I pray for each person here today. And Lord, I pray for these children, the two that are with us as guests. Lord, I just pray that you would nurture them up strong. And may we be a voice with all of those people we encounter this week. May we be, as you called us in 2 Corinthians 5, to be ambassadors, bringing people to know you. Father, thank you for loving us, and I thank you for each person here. Go with them as they travel or whatever this summer may bring. Father, thank you for your love. In your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, John.
Oh.